If you know anything whatsoever about the state of the UK in recent days, weeks, months, then you'll probably be just as disappointed as I am, because there has been so much shit that's been going on. It's been unreal. We've got the digital ID that they're trying to push through to make sure that everybody is trackable by the government with their spending, their habits, their jobs, their travel, everything. That is a whole subject in itself that I'm probably going to touch on again in a different video on this new channel. But for now, I want to talk to you about the most recent train stabbing, because this blew my mind. The fact that it happened so close to where we live. I was literally on that same train line in London about 6-7 hours after the whole thing happened. Now, this one random guy jumped onto a busy train with a big knife, like a big machete, and tried to kill 10 innocent people. This is in a developed country like the UK, where yes, this thing can happen anywhere, but is it happening in places like Japan, where the police and the government and the actual authorities look after the citizens? No. The fact that it's happening here in the UK is blowing my mind, and the fact that it happened so close to where I was, so close to where I could have been, really made it hit home for me personally. Because literally, the day that I got on that train, hours after reading the news of the guy running and trying to stab people, I get to the train station in London. There's absolutely hundreds of people on each platform trying to get home, trying to get here, trying to get there. So the train comes, we wait about 40 minutes at the train station, completely packed. Train comes, pulls up, it's already full. There's hundreds of people trying to get on. So you can imagine, everybody wants to get home, everybody wants to try and make sure to get there safely. So everyone's forcing their way onto the train, trying to get through the door, and by the time the doors close and the train leaves, everybody's packed within about 5-6 inches of each other, and it was one of the most sweaty, uncomfortable, claustrophobic experiences ever. And bear in mind, these train tickets, they are not cheap. With a rail card, which means I get 30% off, I paid £80. £80 to go on a train through London. That's about $110 for anyone watching from America, and it's an absolute ridiculous price for the quality of the product we received, being packed in with people, so you literally couldn't breathe. I couldn't eat, I couldn't drink, I couldn't do nothing. And as someone who has recently been suffering from a little bit of anxiety when it comes to public situations, and especially after reading that 10 people nearly got killed on one of them very same trains that I was on, I think you can see how I was feeling at that moment. Now, the fact that we managed to get off the train safely was a complete blessing. And now that does not happen for everybody. There are tons of people that almost lost their life on that day. And my thoughts obviously go out to the friends and families. But in my personal opinion, they were completely failed by the police, by the government, by the people that should be looking out for them in the first place, by the people that we pay extortionate taxes to, which, bear in mind, they are also planning to raise in the very near future, which we'll cover in a future video on this channel, which is going to be a lot more about more serious topics regarding the UK and otherwise. But yeah, they're raising the taxes, we're getting less for it, the trains are ridiculously expensive, and not only that, your life is in danger the entire time. So to say that the UK population is frustrated with the way things are going is an understatement. Now, you may be thinking, Webbs, how would they have known that this guy was going to fly through the train with this big knife? How would we have known? How could anyone have possibly have had any inkling that this might have happened? Well, it's funny you should say that, because no less than 24 hours before that very same gentleman entered the train with that big machete, he had entered a barbershop and waved that same machete around, of which the barbershop owner called the police once to get the guy sorted out and obviously looked into. Nothing happened. The barbershop then called the police a second time to try and make sure everything was sorted and that this guy was being looked into, because seeing someone cruising around your local community with a big ass knife is not only going to be a scary thing to see, it's going to be a worry for all your friends, family, nieces, nephews, cousins, uncles that are in that area that may bump into this gentleman. So the fact that the police did nothing, when I truly believe that if they'd have been phoned about someone smoking weed in a park or someone being a little bit loud and obnoxious, I think they would be there instantly. Or if there was a domestic between a man and his wife and someone was arguing and the neighbors were complaining, they would be there. But the fact that this guy pulled up into a literal public place with a huge machete where there are actual cameras and nothing was said, nothing happened, nothing was done to prevent it, that police force should be totally and completely ashamed with how that came out. Because the fact that there are people in hospital with injuries, some of which, I think one of which is actually fighting for his life, fully responsible are the police, in my opinion. If they'd have been there quickly, or if they'd have done preventative measures to stop this from happening in the first place, after that first and second initial call, I wouldn't be talking about this right now, because that guy would have been in custody and nothing would have ever happened. They have failed the people, and the fact that they then have the cheek to try and say we need more of your money while they're not giving us the service that we pay for in the first place, and you're literally risking your life on public transport, and you think that you deserve more money from the people, whilst also charging us more for products, charging us more for rent, gas, electric, internet, living, food, drink, anything costs more. Wages, yeah, they go up, but on a far less drastic percentile than what the cost of living does. We all know it, we've heard it 1,000 times, but the fact that they are now having the cheek to try and put those taxes up on top of that, right in the same time period as all this civil unrest is happening, absolute blasphemy. And the fact that anyone is going to let this happen, and not even getting me started on the digital ID, we honestly need some sort of uprising to stop this from happening, and which is one of the reasons why I'm starting this channel here. I feel like the younger people in this generation need more voices speaking for them, and I intend to be that voice for some of you guys. But anyway, thank you for watching this video on the new channel. I hope you don't mind the rant, and if you want to see some more serious subjects spoken on, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.